Welcome to 1 in 20 D&D. Hello and thank you for joining us for Battletech Session 3 Part 1. This is going to be the background story, some of the technical elements of our game, as well as our deployment and setup. If you're only interested in the combat, go ahead and skip ahead to Part 2. I'm going to turn things over to our GM Brett and let him get the game rolling.
For joining us. So to give everyone an update as to who's playing here, I'm Brett, I'm the GM. We actually have almost the full team. We got 5 of our 6 players today. We have Alan playing Crazy Ivan, Gregory playing Tankalar, Matt is Drago, Eric is Slapstick, and Dalton is Major Laser. So Dalton missed us last game, but he's been a player with us before in other games, so I did sort of an offline session with him to bring him up to speed. We are only missing Jeff and Milo, who couldn't make it today. So his character is struck with crabs or something else debilitating and will not be participating today.
Yeah, he's got the trots, so...
Okay, so I'm gonna. I emailed you guys sort of our transition earlier. So you guys are the Bratva. You are a mercenary group in the Lyran Commonwealth. Captain Chukov was an associate of Major Kohler, and they are the senior officers. And while Major Kohler's first mech company was pretty well established, Captain Chukov had recruited you guys to pretty much fill out the second mech company. So you guys are, with only 6 mechs now, only halfway to being a full company, but you're making your way along there. So we did some training scenarios previously, worked a little bit through the role playing on the characters. So I will jump into the transition to actually your next, or rather this game. So the year is April of 3049. It's been about 3 months since our last session, game time. The next few months pass in a blur for the Bratva. While the other companies are engaged in their routine garrison duties, Captain Chukov trains you hard. The days all blend together as you run through countless simulations, mock engagements, live-fire exercises, practice deployments, and classroom instruction in wargaming. By March, the second company is feeling like a real fighting unit, and in recognition of your performance, Major Kohler drops the provisional qualifier from your company name. Several changes of importance occur during this time period. First, after numerous exercises, it becomes apparent the commando isn't well suited for your fighting style. Major Kohler therefore swaps it with one of First Company's wolfhounds. In First Company, the 2 commandos appear quite effective when working as a pair, while the longer-ranged wolfhound, with 1 large laser and 3 medium lasers, better matches the other mechs in your company. Major Kohler also transfers Joseph Tubman, aka Major Laser, from First Company's Bravo Lance to you, along with the Vulcan he sometimes pilots. That brings your team up to 6 mechs, and Captain Chukov splits your team into 2 short lances. The 3 faster mechs, the Spider, Wolfhound, and Wolverine, form Delta Lance, and the 3 sluggers, the Vulcan, Centurion, and Rifleman, become Echo Lance. As a sidebar here, I got tired of having Alpha Company Alpha Lance and Bravo Company Alpha Lance. It just got freaking confusing. There's only 5 lances and half of them only have 3 mechs, so you guys became Delta and Echo Lance, just for simplicity, since it's a pretty small team.
I like that, Brad. That's a good idea.
Yeah, pretty much view Delta Lance like an Alpha Lance that is, a little bit smaller, faster, and then the Echo Lance is more of a Bravo. And of course, we can add Foxtrot and Golf and other stuff as we go along. Or if it gets real big, they'll take you back to, Alpha Bravo Charlie. Anyway, so you guys are Delta and Echo Lance. Anyway, back to the story. The new Vulcan is a great addition to your force. While its roots as an anti-infantry mech are still apparent with its torso-mounted machine gun and flamer, this Vulcan has been heavily modified for anti-mech use, with the jump jets removed in favor of additional armor, an SRM-6 mounted in the left arm, and most importantly, an Ultra AC-5 in the right arm. This rare and potent weapon was purchased as salvage and recently retrofitted to the Vulcan. Also on the equipment side, you opt to replace one of the Spider's machine guns with a medium laser for increased versatility. With the Vulcan on the team, there's less need for 2 machine guns for anti-infantry use. That and the Spider with 2 machine guns and 1 laser was sort of sad. About the same time as he drops the provisional qualifier from your company name, Major Kohler holds a battalion-wide ceremony and has some promotions. Sergeant Ludwig of Major Vanker's assault guns gets promoted to staff sergeant, Mech Warrior Tankalar gets promoted to corporal, and Cadet Slapstick to full Mech Warrior, and there was great rejoicing. April brings big changes for the battalion. Your current garrison contract ends and a new contract goes into effect. Your unit is heading for the remote and sparsely populated desert planet of Tunis. It's a month's journey to the galactic northwest, near the edge of the Lyran Commonwealth, close to the Draconis Combine border. While the Combine has been quiet in the sector for decades, recently there have been other problems in the form of increasing instances of outlaws and pirate raids. Baron von Klaus, the planetary governor, has contracted the services of the Bratva to defend key interests and to root out and eliminate any outlaw forces hiding on the planet. Over the next 2 weeks, you strike camp and get loaded into 4 Union-class dropships, 1 dropship per company. Since the second mech company is still only half a company, your dropship also gets tons of crated supplies, tools, spare parts, prefab buildings, and non-combat vehicles. Then, with what seems like the fury of an exploding sun, the 4 dropships blast off Tharkhead into the sky on brilliant and deafening pillars of flame. 5 days of inter-system travel brings you to the rendezvous with the jump ship. Docking is uneventful. Several hours later, the jump ship makes its first jump. 2 recharge cycles, and 2 weeks later you make your final jump into the Tunis system. Your first sight of the new system seems rather ominous. The aging star is on the verge of becoming a red giant, and it casts a harsh yellow-crimson hue through the viewports of your dropship. From your studies during the trip, you know the system is home to only 3 surviving planets, plus a similar number of asteroid belts created from ancient cosmic events you can only begin to fathom. Only the second planet, Tunis, is inhabited, with a population of about 2 million and scattered mining settlements. Tunis has no native plant life more advanced than algae or molds, and except for a few agricultural areas, is for the most part a big ball of rock. Myriad mountain ranges crisscross the planet, with wide, flat-bottom valleys running for hundreds of miles between them. The towering peaks of the mountains are covered in ice, which is the only source of water on the planet. While the peaks are frigid, down on the flats the climate is more temperate. Gravity is a hair less than Terran standard, and the air will be a little cooler and thinner than you're used to. With little fanfare, the 4 dropships undock from the jump ship and rocket off in-system towards the forbidding-looking planet. Okay, so here's your previous intro. I've got some more stuff for today's session. Before we jump into that, any basic questions about the characters, the mechs, game rule changes from last time, anything?
It's a bluefin tuna system or a skipjack tuna system?
Tunis, Tunis.
Punk.
Someone's been spending too much time, out in the target range without his ear protection.
So I'm guessing we're gonna run a reinforced lance this time, correct? So there are 5 of us.
You can set it up however you like. Okay. Technically, Captain Chukov is in charge of your company, but as we talked about earlier, he is crippled and can no longer pilot a mech, so therefore it is Crazy Ivan and Tank as the 2 senior characters that sort of each run their own lance. Yeah, since Jeff's out, there's 5 of you. You pretty much can either do 2 and 3 or run all 5 as one group, but that'll probably vary with the scenario.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And which mech you decide not to play, we'll get to when we're done with the next section. So, you are blasting in-system on the dropships. Later that day, Captain Chukov gives you a heads up that there's a Bratva group council at 1800 hours in the dropship conference room. The group council includes all officers throughout the battalion, as well as all the mech warriors and tank commanders. The infantry, techs, and support staff have to hear it all from the rest of you. Since the 40-ish attendees are spread out across 4 dropships at the moment, it's a complicated 4-way teleconference. You guys assemble at the required time, grab a beer, and relax as best you can in the cramped and Spartan conference room. After 10 minutes, everyone is linked in and the council finally begins. The first 15 minutes or so are the usual dry formalities, attendance checks, status reports, and the like. You're impatient, but still patient. Welcome to the military. Hurry up and wait. And what the fuck, you're stuck in this tin can for another 3 days, so whatever, you might as well enjoy your beer. At this point, all players are required to take a large swig of beer or whiskey as the case may be, so this is part of proper role-playing. And finally, Lieutenant Dan of the support platoon finishes his latest monologue about supply levels, and Major Kohler takes over. Now, I suck at doing German accents, so pretend this is a German accent. I practiced and it was just horrible, so I'm not going to inflict that on you or anyone else listening in. Gentlemen, we have come a long way from Tharkhead. Some of you may be fearing this will be another tedious garrison contract stuck out on some backwater world. I assure you that will not be the case. As I suspected when our employer, the noble Baron von Klaus, made his offer, this would not be a quiet assignment. No one offers to pay that much for mech warriors to watch miners shovel dirt. I've been in contact with the planetary capital, and either the Baron's agents were being optimistic when they described, quote, occasional outlaw raids, or the situation has worsened since we signed on last month. Apparently, regular attacks on mining facilities and metal processing plants have started to seriously cut into the planet's metal outputs and is negatively impacting their economy. That has led to strong protests against the government and calls for the Baron's resignation. What strikes me as most curious is that Tunis is virtually independent as it is, as evidenced by its need to hire us rather than call up Commonwealth forces. Toppling the Baron would cause little other than governmental chaos for a few weeks or months. This would seem more like the actions of anarchists than rebels, but the actions are too coordinated and pointed to be just disgruntled miners. The Baron's chief military advisor suspects it's a prelude to a pirate invasion. It wouldn't be unheard of. Great enough chaos, and then when the pirates arrive, the planet is theirs for the taking. They can either act the benevolent force and restore law and order, thereby gaining the population's trust, or just pillage freely since the local defense forces have already been exhausted. My brothers, we will not let that happen. Not only have the Bratva given their word to the Baron that we will defend his interests and accept his money, we will not personally allow the forces of anarchy to prevail on this planet. We will find the seditious elements and eliminate them, and likewise crush any foreign invaders. So give me a second here. Okay, at that point, on the hologram, he pulls up a three-dimensional, high-tech holographic map of Tunis, which you can now see here. Maybe it's not quite so 3D holographic, but there you go. Use your imagination. If it looks 2D, that's because it's your beer, not my fault. So, let us review again the
level high-tech display.
It is. So, let us review again the theater of operations. As you can see, the dominant terrain features are the Atlas Mountains to the west and the Black Sea to the east. The former are virtually impassable, too cold and high altitude for men on foot, too many jagged peaks and dangerous defiles for mechanized units, and hazardous for aircraft and VTOL due to the vicious winds and electrical storms at the peaks. The Black Sea is a vast desert of black salt, and the surface becomes so hot by the end of the day it can boil water in moments. There is, however, about a 50 by 80 mile stretch between them with tolerable climate. Some of the lowland areas near the Black Sea are mild enough for agriculture. The capital city of Taburba was founded centuries ago and the largest of these. The smaller city of Buzid is similarly an agricultural hub. As you know, the economy is centered around rare metals mining, and numerous mining colonies are nestled up against the mountains. The cities of Elkef, Kazarine, and Gafsa are pretty much industrial towns containing metal processing plants for the neighboring mining facilities. After additional consultations with the Baron and his advisors, the Bratva would be deployed as follows. First, Battalion HQ will be centered at Taburba. We have arranged to occupy an abandoned aircraft manufacturing and repair facility at the edge of the Taburba spaceport. I'm going to keep my Caesar mech there, as well as 1st and 3rd Armor Platoons and the 1st Infantry Platoon. Alpha Lance and the 2nd Armor Platoon will be posted to Elkef. They're fast, so they can rush back to Taburba or down to Kazarine as rapidly as needed. Bravo and Charlie Lances are assigned to Kazarine along with half of the 2nd Infantry Company. All of 2nd Company and the other half of 2nd Infantry Platoon is down at Gafsa. In my experience, the farther away you are from the capital, the more likely a place is to be hit. And Gafsa also has the only other spaceport on the planet, making it a tempting target for raiders, or as a beachhead for a larger operation. Now, I don't like splitting up the battalion this way, but we really don't have a choice. Unless we know who and what we're fighting, we can't mass to oppose it. So everyone stay on your toes until we get a feel for things. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, in that case, he pretty much concludes the meeting. You guys sign off and start talking things through with Captain Shukov. So you guys have got about 3 days until you've make planetfall. Pretty much the details, you're all going to land at Taburba and then pretty much just walk or go by truck down to your deployment areas. So they'll pretty much string stuff out. As you can see with the scale up near the top, it is probably maybe about 15-20 miles between each of the main cities for the most part. So this is a fairly concentrated area of population on the planet. A lot of it is just utterly unexplored. or unoccupied. There are some like sort of native settlements here and there, but they're really pretty remote and not of any interest to you. This is about the only industrial area on the planet.
Those remote settlements, are those the red dots?
Yeah, so the
Those
little
are the
red
mining
dots
colonies.
up against the mining are the up against the mountains are the mining colonies. The remote settlements are like not even on the map. They're like hundreds or thousands of miles away. Almost like religious escapees that want to start their own community and just pick some remote planet, and they're sort of scraping a bare living. So that's
And
they're probably
Taburba is the capital, right?
yeah. Toburba is the capital. This planet has been occupied for a few hundred years, so it has, especially around Taburba, that was the best place for agriculture. It had a little bit of runoff coming down from the mountains, and then the soil and such was right for the agricultural area. However, it was sort of a long trek out to the mountains, so they started to they created Elkef and then these other towns farther down below.
So
Are there atlases in the Atlas Mountains?
No. Well, actually, these maps are taken from real world. So I was like, oh, how convenient. It's called the Atlas Mountains. So there you go. You guys don't know your history, it won't surprise you. You'll find out the hard way.
So, if we ask around, has there been any sort of pattern with the attacks?
Captain Chukov makes some inquiries. Not really. There's been no mechs involved. At the moment, it's mainly been almost like terrorist rebel types.
Sabotage stuff?
Yeah, but it's been sort of random. They'll hit pretty much things randomly. You'll get like two guys, shoot up a police station and then run off. And there's 3 cops killed. Or there's a big explosion and an IED takes out, a truck carrying supplies or, ore to the spaceport. Or there's guys in technical show up and shoot up from a long range like a power plant. It's been more harassment than anything else, but the population is getting pretty edgy. And it's weird because there's not really a big militarized. It's not a very militarized area, so people are like, well, where are these weapons coming from? I mean, supposedly they're being smuggled in somehow, so they've had to tighten up, import controls. But there's never really been much of a planetary militia that can be defecting or selling weapons in the black market or anything. So there's suspicion it may be coming in from off planet. But since it's not a very developed planet, there's not much of a satellite network. So other than the radars at Taburba and to a lesser extent down at Gafsa, people don't know, are there other dropships coming in, jump ships, are people landing in the far side of the mountains or outside the normal scan areas and sneaking in, or are these just stuff that's been smuggled in and they're natives? No one really knows yet, so that's what's making it sort of strange. They've had issues before with pirates where they'll see a dropship come down, or they'll deploy a dozen mechs, come totally raid an area, load up on ore and material and slaves or whatever, and then blast off a day later. But that's typically how these and other remote planets suffer with the pirates. It's real quick hit and run and get out of there before whatever local mercenary force can catch up to them and engage them.
It'd be nice to put some of our men in all the mining communities, but that seems like we'd spread ourselves too thin. Even if we just
a lot of mining communities, more than there are of us.
Well, I mean infantry, right? I don't mean us, and I certainly don't mean the armor company or anything like that. But we have 80 infantrymen. So if we put 3 or 4 operatives in every mining community to keep an eye on things, and then report to us, and each of the mining communities is 5 or 10 miles from one of the main cities. So theoretically, if they had, motorcycles or some kind of a Jeep or some kind of transportation, they could get back pretty damn quick.
Yeah, Captain Chukov passes those ideas along, but you guys pretty much are a mech company, so you have no control over the infantry.
Right.
For the most part, the population is friendly, so there are local police officers, informants, and other stuff throughout these areas. So you should get noticed. Really, the mining communities haven't been attacked that badly, and it doesn't seem like people in the mining facilities are the ones doing the attacking.
Right.
it's sort of strange, but this is picked up in maybe the last 2-3 months while you guys are in transit and since the contract was signed. So for now,
is there?
You're pretty much.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just for now, pretty much your company is being deployed down to Gofsa, and at that point, it's pretty much up to you and Captain Chukov to decide what you want to do down there. He's got you're getting 2 squads, about 20 infantrymen to just do like basic base security for you guys. And there's obviously sometimes you can't use mechs if you've got like, a riot going on downtown. Well, you can, but it's awfully squishy.
So
That sounds like the best time to use a mech.
I would kind of suggest that we try to see if there were any kind of warehouse or anything that we could hole up near the spaceport and keep an eye on it without making our presence like blatantly known.
Well, what's the most strategic, spot in the city, in the town?
That's
Well, right now, let's go in order. So you've got some basic maps of the area, but need to reconnoiter yourself. But the group, in a couple of days, the entire company lands at Taburba. You'll come blasting down, immediately deploy. The supply dropship with all the infantry, as well as the armor dropship, follow, 15 minutes later each. For the most part, it's pretty quiet. Even though this place seems sort of empty, it's obviously dusty, and it's actually not that hot. You thought it was going to be like scorching hot. It's almost more sort of like a high desert type feel to it. Air's a little bit crisp. It's definitely got a good breeze to it, and the air is very staticky. You've heard in your reviews that just something about like the amount of dust in the air, it creates a lot of lightning storms. It does create some communication problems. There's a welcome committee comes out from Taborba. You guys pretty much just do a very basic deployment. Major Kohler deploys you to different places. You sort of get moved in for a day or so. Unpack the dropships. The dropships are going to stay on the ground here. Your jump ship has now departed. It wasn't like going to hang out waiting for you. It just picks up some of the dropships that were heading out there with, metal ores.
Yeah, we don't have our own jump ship yet.
No, you have your own drop ships,
Right.
but you pretty much hire different jump ships. In a lot of cases like
Right.
this, the Baron von Klaus coordinated. He pretty much
Sure.
paid for your transport. He's
Sure,
like, you be
sure.
here, we'll send you a drop ship or a
Perfect.
jump ship. Anyway, so after a day or so, you pretty much as a group get deployed down to Elkef. So there's a pretty good, group of you marching down there. Major Kohler spreads you out a little bit. You go by lances. There's a little bit of traffic on the roads. I mean, you pass sort of like truck caravans containing different, ores and so forth, like big giant dump trucks, things like that. A little bit of civilian traffic. For the most part, it appears to be electrically powered, just like personal vehicles. They're not big enough for fusion reactors in the most part, and there's no source of fossil fuels on this planet because it has virtually no plant life. So pretty much everything runs off electrics, just battery powered, either from solar or from fusion reactors in the major cities. So they just sort of come trundling along. You guys, however, don't have to worry about that because most of you in the mechs all have fusion power plants. So after doing a quick scout around at Elkef, you drop off the second armor platoon with the 5 or the 4 light T5 tanks and also Alpha Company, and the rest of you go tromping down to Kazarine. So Kazarine itself, it's sort of a high pass between the Atlas Mountains and the Jebel Mountains. So it's a little higher and twistier than you get in there. You can see almost like some little communities alongside the road there, not just those mining facilities that are about 5 miles off, or maybe just a mile or 2 off. So it's sort of spread out there a little bit. Kazarine is pretty straightforward. You land there. Once again, you guys split. At this point, you're starting to get a little bit thin. You've really encountered nothing hostile, so the people seem sort of ambivalent to you. But you get sort of like a weird Wild West eeriness to it. You don't know if it's just you're not used to being in a place that's like not very populated like this, or that people aren't interested in you. I mean, you're coming from Tharkad, which is like a very highly populated, imperial capital.
Who is getting deployed into Kazarine? Bravo Lance,
So-
or is it Charlie?
Kazarine is Bravo and Charlie.
Okay.
except for the Caesar. The Caesar is Major Kohler's personal mech.
Okay.
So you've got 2 of the. Actually, let me go back, take a look at this here. So we'll go back to the table of equipment for a second.
I'm looking at it. I got it.
Okay. So yeah, so you've got the Vulcan, the Hatchet Man, the Bushwhacker, the 2 Jaeger mechs, and the Zeus, as well as half of Second Platoon, Stage, and Kazarine. And then you guys are heading down with the other half of Second Platoon to Augusta.
Wait, I thought you said
So-
half of Second Platoon was in El Kef.
No, LKEF has no infantry. First Platoon is in the capital.
Oh,
and Second
Josh,
Platoon's
I'm looking
being
at. I got you. I'm sorry. I
split
was looking
between
at- Yeah.
you guys and the others.
Does
No
Second
big deal.
Platoon armor is in? Are they in El Kef? Maybe.
Yeah, Second Platoon armor is in
Armor
LKEF.
is in El Kef. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's all of it or half of it?
Um,
I'm taking notes.
Oh,
That's why I'm asking.
Second Platoon armor is in LKEF.
Oh,
So you got
okay.
the 4
Got
T5 tanks plus
Got
Alpha Land. So they're pretty much like the Raptor
Got it.
response.
Got it,
There's
got it,
not
got it.
much infantry.
Half of the
So-
half of the Second Platoon infantry is
Yeah.
in Taborba, and the other half is in Kazarine. No,
Infantry, Taborba has First Platoon.
got it.
You are splitting Second Platoon with Kazarine.
Got it.
So
Okay.
your concern is Delta and Echo Lances, and you have 4 trucks. So the trucks have supplies as well as the infantry and your command stuff.
Right. Okay.
so which
half.
brings us to the point
Okay.
where you have 20 tons of supplies that you can bring with you when you deploy, that at least is immediately handy. So probably first group decision is what do you want to bring? Spare ammunition for your missiles and autocannons. You can bring armor plate, replacement parts, replacement weapons. So just sort of figure out how you want to split out that 20 tons. Because you don't quite know how often you're going to get reinforced. And
Sure.
once again, you are sort of strung out. You're only talking, what, 1 battalion spread across, 400 square miles here?
Yeah. I would say we take half of the weight in armor, and then split the other half between spare parts and ammo. Anybody else have a thought?
Sounds fine to me.
You're actually carrying more than 20 tons. So I assume, like, basic spare parts, like lubricants and crap like that, fuses, as well as, like, personal objects, food and water, all that is, like, elsewhere in the trucks. There's, like, 20 tons of, like, you can disposition as you want. Like, just, armor, ammo, and any particular spare parts. If there's something you can think of, like a spare foot or jump jets or, a backup medium laser, things like that, or obviously ammo.
All right, so let's take a couple medium lasers. I forgot. See, I don't know the loadouts of every single. So what mechs are we bringing? That's the. Let's figure that out first.
True, because at this point we're gonna say that Milo is not feeling well, and one of your mechs broke down and is in LKEF. It ended up having like a hip seizure, so yeah, fell and broke its hip. It's the grandma mech, so it's pretty much stuck there for a little bit with a couple of technicians to try to get the thing fixed. So you leave Milo and that mech behind as you head down to Gafsa.
So, y'all, as I said earlier, I think Eric should get first choice. That's just, I'd like to give Eric first choice since he had the spider the first time we played.
It's all good. It's not a big deal to me. But I appreciate it.
Okay, well, we're going to assume Tank is in the Centurion
For sure.
and Crazy Ivan's in the Wolverine, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
right,
you've
Alan?
got...
Alan, I'm assuming you want your mech, right?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Yeah.
So of the other 4 mechs, which one don't you want to bring with you?
I always would say go with weight. So
You mean keep the heavier ones and
That would
leave
be
the lighter ones?
I think we should leave the Centurion behind.
you bastard.
You think the Centurion?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
I thought you
I
were
forgot
being
that you're
cheeky.
in the Centurion.
Why did you
I was-
say that?
Well, because I was looking only at the movement speed, right? And the rifleman is the heaviest, and the centurion is the slowest between, or the lightest of the slow mechs. But probably we should leave. Let's see. If we're gonna do a lot of patrols, I would probably leave the Vulcan behind because it's the most ammo dependent.
That sounds smart.
The Centurion's pretty damn
Yeah.
It is, but
dependent.
but that one's what do you call it?
But I could rely on my medium
stuck on
lasers
it, right?
primarily.
But he owns it, so
Yeah.
he's gonna bring it
Right.
no matter what.
Yeah, that's sort of how.
Dude, your mechs suck.
Yeah. But I mean, that's also why you have 20 tons. So I mean, you can get a lot of shots for a ton. So figure out, if you're bringing those mechs, then just allocate of that 20 tons, a few tons for spare ammo.
Tell him time and again, energy weapon.
Hey, I got 2.
So
So I would say maybe we bring like.
it's a matter of who wants to play what too.
Yeah, that's true.
Where's the movement on these things? Is it ground MP?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the rifleman's just as slow as a centurion.
It is.
But it's
But it's
heavier,
heavier,
which
more armor.
means it
Yeah.
more armor, more firepower.
So I'm down with
Right.
leaving the Vulcan. Then we take 3 fast mechs and 2 slow mechs, and we have some firepower from the rifleman. The Centurion for sure has some pretty good firepower too. I'm almost more like a support lance with Bravo. I mean with Echo.
Vulcan's got the ultra auto cannon.
What's that?
the Vulcan's got the ultra auto cannon.
That's true. Well, do you want? I mean, if somebody wants to pilot the Vulcan, then we just do that, and we have 2. We could have just 2 scouts, the Wolverine and the Wolfhound, or the Wolverine and the Spider as our scouts. That makes sense.
Yeah.
By the way,
Spider-
I'm also going to say, like AC ammo is common. So Ultra ACs use the same AC5 ammo that your
About to
rifleman
ask
does.
that question.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
But
assume
not
it's
the
more like the
AC-10, right?
Then
yeah,
I
so
would
the
leave.
AC10's obviously heavy caliber, but the AC5, I assume the Ultra AC is just got like an enhanced rapid fire, or it's got like 2 barrels or something.
Okay.
It uses the same AC5 shells.
Perfect.
And for that matter, so does the T5 tanks elsewhere. So,
Awesome.
food for thought. And obviously, all SRMs and LRMs, it's not like SRM2s use different SRMs than SRM4s.
So who wants to pilot the rifleman? Anybody? Somebody needs to step up.
All volunteer if no one else.
Okay.
There you go. We're gonna say you want to slapstick the juice, though.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. That's perfect. All right. So then, who wants the Vulcan?
Duck.
Did you? It sounded almost like you're, leaning towards the Vulcan, Matt. Is that true or no? I guess I
like
should
it.
stalk in character. Drago, do you want to drive the Vulcan today?
I can't.
I'm just kidding.
You're from
Yes?
Transylvania.
Yeah, I know. Right?
It's good.
Okay. All right. So let's put Drago in the Vulcan. So now my question then is I guess that goes to Dalton. What do you want to drive, the Wolfhound or the Spider?
I'm the one with the least amount of knowledge, so I will go with. And I'm, to stay in character, I'm also probably one of the more junior people, so I'll go with whatever you guys suggest.
The Spider is faster. It has jump jets.
You and me, noobs together, brother.
Yeah.
The
It's
Spider's harder to pilot.
That's true.
Because you can easily get taken out if you get exposed.
Right.
The Wolfhound is definitely more survivable.
Okay, then I guess
Like a
Wolfhound.
decision.
Cool.
Like what?
All
Sounds
right,
like a decision. Yeah.
beautiful.
It's
So we're gonna leave the
relative.
Spider behind. There you go. So then let's look at ammo.
It also has the most number of lasers.
Yay!
The Wolfhound is all lasers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah, I should have.
All laser, no
Yeah,
ammo.
Right on. All right, so the Spider's
We
being left
need
behind,
AC, we need some missiles, and we need some machine gun ammo.
for sure. So let's bring like, 1 ton, maybe 2 tons at the most of machine gun ammo. At the most.
I don't even
No
know if
idea
I
how
can
much you
bother
consume.
bringing that much.
Yeah. How much is a ton, Brett?
Well, let's assume you're fine on machine gun ammo, because you're never going to use it, and the inventory's going to have some with them, so you
Okay.
can just like steal theirs if you need it.
Okay.
And
So-
otherwise, like a ton is like 2,000 rounds or something ridiculous. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
let's not dick with that.
Okay,
So it looks like half a ton of the autocannon is 10 ammo, is what it looks like. Is that, am I interpreting this right?
Yes.
So
so
So I would recommend like a ton of it.
At
just
least.
yeah.
AC5 ammo, I'd probably say like
Yeah.
3 tons.
I was saying
we're gonna
3
need
to
to put
5.
in
Yeah,
AC5
3 out
ammo.
of 20? Okay.
at least
Yeah.
3, if not 5, for the AC5.
Okay. Well, you said 10 tons of armor, and these are just armor patch.
Yeah.
So we'll say that gives you that'd be 150 points. 3 tons AC5 ammo would give you 60 rounds.
Okay.
Did you want to bring like a spare medium laser in case one gets shot off as a ton?
At
A
least
spare
one.
heat sink if one gets shot off as a ton?
Yeah, we need like 3.
Let's bring
Probably.
3 heat sinks. Yeah.
3 medium lasers.
That's I'm down with 3. That sounds perfect.
Okay, that leaves you 1 ton. Do you want to bring any SRM or LRM ammo?
So let's make
We
it
need-
2. Let's make it 2 medium lasers, 1 LRM ton, and I need a ton of AC10, at least, or half a ton maybe.
Ooh, really?
And the rest SRM6 or SRM ammo.
Okay, that gives you that's too much ammo. Or are you doing half a ton of AC10?
Yeah, that's what I said. Half ton is fine, I think. So 3 heat sinks, 2 medium lasers,
1 ton LRM ammo?
1 ton LRM. Yeah. Who else has LRMs, by the way?
Just you.
I think it's only you.
Just me? Oh. I tend to use a shitload of LRMs though. All right. 1 ton LRM, half ton of AC 10.
Okay, so let's see. Half ton AC10 gives you 10 rounds.
And
I think we're left with like 1.5 ton of SRM6
Actually, let me double check.
or SRMs.
is each heat sink
guys
a
are
ton?
Each heat sinks
Yeah.
1 ton. Look up the weapon weight chart here.
How many SRMs do we have? Who all
We have
has
2 SRM6s.
So, LRM 10 is 12 shots per ton. AC 10 is 10 shots per ton. So you got to have 2 tons in there already. So if you're taking half ton, that's 5 extra bullets.
5. Wait a minute.
Because you currently are carrying 2 tons of AC 10 ammo on your Centurion.
How do I see that? I don't recognize it on the...
It's not on the sheet here. I probably should
Oh.
put that in.
Okay. All right. So then 1.5 tons of SRM. I mean, that seems like a lot. I'd rather have an extra half ton of the AC10 ammo, and a ton of SRM ammo and ton of AC10. No, wait. What about AC5 ammo?
We already picked up
Yeah.
a couple tons. I think 3 tons of that.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you have 3 tons of AC5, that's 60 rounds.
Okay, good.
1 ton of AC10 is 10 rounds. 1 ton of LRMs is 12 shots. And then if you did 1 ton of SRM, that would be 15 shots. Of course, you got what, 2 guys that use SRMs?
Yeah, I would drop 1
Okay.
ton of armor and add another ton of SRMs.
Do 2 tons of SRM?
Yeah.
I like that. That gives us 30 shots of extra SRMs.
Yeah, especially if you guys have got like SRM 6s.
Yeah. So
Um,
we're doing a full ton of AC10 ammo, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, and we're doing how much armor if we drop 1 ton of armor?
9 tons would be 135 points.
135 points.
So let's see. 3 AC5, 1, 2, 3. Heat sinks, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
Beautiful.
I've still got too much weight. 9 tons armor, plus 3 AC5 is 12, plus 3 heat sinks is 15, plus 2 medium lasers is 17. LRM is 18, AC10 is 19, 2 tons SRM is 21. Do you want to drop to... Yeah, you've got 1 ton extra.
Drop a ton of armor.
Yeah, make it 8.
Down to 8 tons. Okie dokie.
So
'Cause
that's,
remember, we can salvage, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So what's that, 120?
And I mean, once again, this is a just in case you guys, like, fall into a shitstorm and can't get reinforced.
How much is each ton of armor, Brett?
15 points.
Okay, so we're going to bring 120 of armor. That's plenty
Yeah.
for now.
Okay. And there's sort of a limit as to how much you can repair anyway.
Right. In the field.
This
yeah.
is like sort of cheap ass weld patch. It's obviously not like perfectly contoured. It's like a field repair is needed,
Right.
which is better than nothing. So.
Good to go. Let's do it.
Okay. So you guys are gonna head south. There are the 4 of you, and then 5 of you, and then 4 trucks. How do you want to deploy? You're pretty much winding down it's a paved road, 1 lane either direction. It's sturdy enough to support the mech weight, and for the most part, you've got you're sort of going down valleys. All this stuff is sort of mountainous, so you've got a bunch of hills on each side of the road. They're not really high hills, and for the most part, they're not too near. They're like several hundred meters away. There have been issues with it's too far away for snipers for you to worry about, but there have been issues with IEDs. Do you want to like space yourselves out? Do you want to have some guys going like on either side of the road? The trucks obviously need to stick on the road. So
I would say we have somebody should take point. Like 1 mech takes point. Then we have 2 trucks, 2 mechs, 2 trucks, 2 mechs. Or we could go 2 mechs in the front, 2 trucks, 2 mechs, 2 trucks, 1 mech. Either.
Speed-wise, how are the mechs compared to the trucks?
Sorry, what was that, Dalton?
Speed-wise, how are the mechs compared to the trucks?
Well, probably they're fairly similar. I mean, these are trucks, so you're maybe going to get like 60, 70 miles an hour out of them. And I think, what the hell's the damn conversion on this? Because you got hexes per turn. The fastest mechs will run about a little over 100 miles an hour. If you guys are
miles
moving
or
at
kilometers?
Well, that's what I'm trying to convert is to kilometers. So I think, give me 1 second. I got to remember this. There was like some conversion stuff. So let's see. 4MP was 64, and that's.
So we can just
kph.
cruise at like 60 kph, or I mean 60 mph, and let the truck stay up with us.
Yeah, and you're certainly not going to be like hauling at top speed at 60 miles an hour. That's just not safe for the trucks.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I would just want to make sure that.
The trucks have 6 MP.
Okay.
And
Okay,
that would
that's
put them at about, each MP is about 10 miles an hour. If you
Yeah,
want
it's
to be
the
ballpark.
rifleman. Yeah, so we just move it at whatever speed that the trucks can handle.
I want to make sure that the trucks weren't faster than the mechs, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
The mechs
I
are
mean,
definitely
ultimately-
faster.
In this stuff,
Some
they're
of
fairly
it.
slow. So I'd say either 30 or 40 miles an hour probably makes sense. So you guys can sort of keep your eyes out without. And once again, you want the mechs at walking speed. When you're at your maximum MP, your mech is like seriously starting to hustle and generate heat.
So I had an interesting strategy. Just wanted to bring this up and see what you guys think. It sounds like this is more we're worried about raiders, right? And I kind of wanted to run a ruse where we run the trucks a little ahead, hoping to draw out whoever might attack them.
We can do that.
If the mechs are fast enough, then we can come up pretty quick, and hopefully then we get the advantage of surprise rather than vice versa, which is we're on the road and everyone's just waiting to ambush us.
In that case, we could do a police line behind the mechs.
Right.
I mean, behind the trucks, rather.
By the trucks, exactly. So I think originally you were saying maybe 2 mechs, then 2 trucks, then 2 mechs, then 2
No,
trucks.
but I'm down
say
with
let's
putting
put in-
all 4 trucks up front. That's cool. They can stay tight in formation, like a little caravan, save gas mileage.
Well, actually,
I feel like
Captain
we should have at
Chukov
least-
doesn't like that because the trucks are very vulnerable.
I feel
And
like we should have at least a mech in front.
yeah, now what you can probably do is get like a decoy truck or 2. You can certainly like requisition just a civilian truck
Yeah,
someplace.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And then put that up front. Whether or not anyone takes that bait or is a separate question. But last thing you want is an IED to like take out all your trucks.
Yeah. That makes
And
sense.
in particular the infantry and your boss that are in them.
It depends. It was just
What's a
review
one in-
time. We weren't
1 in
happy
6
with
chance, right?
Yeah.
It's
like
around to reprimand us after the fact.
Yeah. The bad news is 90% of our company just died. The good news is none of it were the remaining 10%. So
Very well taken. Yeah, I think putting a truck with spare parts or with nothing an empty truck is at the front would be the ideal thing to do there. Here.
You guys will find some like pretty worthless stuff to put in the truck, like pallets for bedding and blankets and medical supplies, stuff that even food packets. It's like, yeah, if it gets blown up, you can fish it out from 50 meters away. It's still smoking. Hey, it's already cooked.
I've got the most armor, so I can walk next to it to give it some credit.
But I think that the idea was to try and draw out whoever might attack it, right? If they see a big mech walking next to it.
Well, you've got pretty good lines of sight here, so keep that in mind. That most people will probably be able to see you coming from like hundreds of meters away.
What are the
as far as you know, at least walking down to Kazarine, everything's been pretty wide and open. So, I mean, you could maybe get some guys harassing you from the far hills, but it's not like you're going into like tight, narrow valleys.
What's an estimated distance between like Elkef and Kasserine?
Well, there's a map. You can use your map tool probably.
It's the scales up top say like 15 miles or so.
Okay, so feet or miles?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, 25 feet.
Exactly. Well, if if 1 inch is 5 miles, like the up top here says.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I just that. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. Okay, perfect.
So,
okay,
say like 15, 20 miles. So you're only talking like a 30-minute walk. But since at this point, you are getting pretty spread out, you can sort of see any potential raiders waiting until you guys are all split out from each other to ambush. And I mean, for all you know, you've had zero issues coming down to Kazarine, so the plan is you'll probably get to Gafsa. But as sort of a general marching order for other deployments, it's nice to have this sort of sorted out. Okay, so we're talking, decoy truck in front?
Mm-hmm.
With the Wolverine. And then I'd say next in line should be the Centurion and the Rifleman.
Okay. Now the truck's on the road. Is the Wolverine like on the road, or are you like off the side?
I can be off to the side.
How far?
I don't know, maybe 50 meters or so.
Okay.
All right, it's pretty close.
Yeah, no, that's reasonably close. And remember, this thing is like 10-something meters tall, so it seems sort of close. You want to be like looming. And you said Centurion and Rifleman next?
Yes, on the road.
Are they like on the road?
On the road for sure, because they're
Which
slow
order?
as shit.
Centurion
I'll put
then
the
Rifleman?
Centurion.
Or?
Yeah, because the Rifleman has longer range. I think.
And how far apart are they going to be?
We'll put I don't know, 30 between us.
Okay. And how far back from the decoy truck and the Wolverine are you? Are you guys like 100 meters away, or just like right behind them?
I was going to
so it's barely visible.
I was actually going to suggest like 500 meters or some decent distance, but otherwise it's not really a decoy.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone can see us coming, right? So
Right.
we're not going to be like hiding.
And it needs to still look like
Yeah,
Okay.
I
it
think
needs to still
that
look like it's part of the caravan.
I think that the suggestion is great, and the way that it can be used best is that the front is likely to get attacked first. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and there was the mention of IEDs, which if we're
right,
too
so
close,
they're the quote unquote they're the decoy quote unquote in the sense that they get hit first, but they don't have the valuables necessarily.
right.
So I would say maybe 100 meters at the most.
Fair enough. Yeah, probably. Yeah, that sounds good. It's probably out of IED.
Close
range.
enough that my LRMs are gonna hit. That's where I want to be.
Well, keep in mind each hex is 30 meters. So
Each hex is 30. Okay, so
yeah,
so
so
maybe-
500 meters is like 17 hexes. 100
Oh.
meters is 3 or 4.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, let's go like
2.
2 hexes?
2 hexes.
Yeah, 2 hexes back and then 1 to the side.
That's less than 100 meters. You're talking about 60, 70 meters, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still guarding the truck.
That's right.
Um,
When you
Oh
think
no,
about
we're
what
talking about
weapon
the
ranges
but
are.
we're talking about the Rifleman and the Centurion.
No,
Yeah,
I'm talking
like
about the Wolverine, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to be tight on the front truck. We know that.
Yeah.
That's already established.
Yeah, we're talking how far behind is everyone else? Are you guys like 17 hexes away as a decoy? Or are they following
5
you
hexes.
like, 3-4
yeah,
hexes behind?
yeah, I'm down with 5 hexes. That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Fly from the lead truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or 5 from Centauri or Wolverine.
Both.
So that's 150 meters. So obviously, unless these guys are, if you get attacked, unless someone's oblivious, they're going to see the other group, but they're like, yeah, they're still 150 meters away, you know. Okay, so Centurion, then Rifleman,
Yes.
then who? You still have 4 real trucks, and the Vulcan, and the Wolfhound.
Yeah, I'd say the 4 trucks and then the Vulcan and the Wolfhound in the rear. Because they're much faster. Well, maybe not. Well, what's the Vulcan speed? I don't know that.
7.
7? Oh. So maybe the Vulcan should be in the middle somewhere. 2 trucks Vulcan, 2 trucks Wolfhound.
Yes.
There you go. That's it. That's what we're going to do. And about
Okay.
2 hexes in between the trucks and the Vulcan and the trucks and the Wolfhound. And they're 2
Perfect.
hexes behind the Centurion and the Rifleman.
We have a plan. Okay, everyone zoom out to 20%, just to give you a feel for the whole map.
Thank
So you guys are heading from north to south. So the 3 lakes are like sort of these salt flats, so they should be able to be crossed real easily. But sometimes they're sort of crusty, and there's actually like moisture underneath, and you could fall in and get bogged down. So consider them a chance of difficult terrain. What you're looking at, the
orange area.
yeah, the orange areas are hills, and the gray areas are like rock formations. And for the most part, these rocks are like maybe waist high in the mechs. These aren't like real big towering
Is the
things.
blue the dry lakes or what?
Yeah, the blue is like the salt flats.
It almost
So-
looks like white to me.
Yeah, I was trying to make them sort of whitish blue without making them like pure white.
Sweet.
So, anyway, you guys are coming down, and you are going to get ambushed as you pass the first lake. So let's zoom back in a little bit and get everyone deployed, as we just discussed.
Would have been annoyed if we spent all that time planning when we weren't ambushed.
Yeah, it's like, and he makes Gopso with no issues. So, good game, guys. Good night.
Until the next
Okay.
one.
Okay, that's not actually the end. That's just going to be the end of part 1 because I realized some folks are not all that interested in all the setup for the kind of technical part of like how we're setting up our units and how we're deploying our units and all this kind of thing. And others will be fascinated by how we did that and sort of the background story for the actual game. So part 2, we're going to just jump right into the combat. So stay tuned for that. I will have that video up for you guys just as soon as possible. In the meantime, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hey, give us a thumbs up and share this with anyone you think might enjoy it. In the meantime, we'll see you at a table someday. Keep rolling 20s. Of course, when you're playing a game like Battletech, you want to keep rolling 6s. And remember, it's your game. Play your way.